I've earned 30 plus certifications, and I'm here to guide you to success on your exam. Welcome to the Ultimate DP 700 Exam Masterclass. Are you ready to crack the DP 700 exam in one go? You're in the right place. In this session, we'll arm you with powerful insights and hand-picked questions that can make all the difference in your exam performance. We've scanned the web using intelligent crawlers to gather the most critical and high-impact questions, all compiled into one powerful PDF resource. You can download it from the link in the description. Not only will we explore these must-practice questions, but we'll also share real exam experiences and pro tips to give you that competitive edge. Let's dive into the key questions that could shape your success. Question 1. You have a Fabric workspace. You have semi-structured data. You need to read the data by using T-SQL, KQL, and Apache Spark. The data will only be written by using Spark. What should you use to store the data? A. A lakehouse. B. An event house. C. A data mart. D. A warehouse. Correct answer B. An event house. Explanation. Event house supports semi-structured data with KQL, SQL, and Spark querying. It allows writing via Spark while enabling multi-engine analytics efficiently. Question 2. You have a Fabric workspace that contains a warehouse named Warehouse 1. You have an on-premises Microsoft SQL Server database named Database 1 that is accessed by using an on-premises data gateway. You need to copy data from Database 1 to Warehouse 1. Which item should you use? A. A Dataflow Gen 1 data flow. B. A data pipeline. C. A KQL query set. D. A notebook. Correct answer B. A data pipeline. Explanation. Data pipelines enable copying data from on-premises SQL Server using gateways. They provide scalable, reliable orchestration and efficient data movement into Fabric Warehouse. Question 3. You have a Fabric workspace that contains a warehouse named Warehouse 1. You have an on-premises Microsoft SQL Server database named Database 1 that is accessed by using an on-premises data gateway. You need to copy data from Database 1 to Warehouse 1. Which item should you use? A. An Apache Spark job definition. B. A data pipeline. C. A Dataflow Gen 1 data flow. D. An event stream. Correct answer B. A data pipeline. Explanation. Data pipelines are designed for ETL and data transfer scenarios. They support multiple sources and ensure reliable, scalable data ingestion into Fabric warehouses. Question 4. You have a Fabric workspace named Workspace 1 that contains a notebook named Notebook 1. In Workspace 1, you create a new notebook named Notebook 2. You need to ensure that you can attach Notebook 2 to the same Apache Spark session as Notebook 1. What should you do? A. Enable high concurrency for notebooks. B. Enable dynamic allocation for the Spark pool. C. Change the runtime version. D. Increase the number of executors. Correct answer A. Enable high concurrency for notebooks. Explanation. High concurrency allows multiple notebooks to share the same Spark session. This reduces startup overhead and improves performance for interactive workloads. Question 5. You have a Fabric warehouse named DW1. DW1 contains a table that stores sales data and is used by multiple sales representatives. You plan to implement row-level security (RLS). You need to ensure that the sales representatives can see only their respective data. Which warehouse object do you require to implement RLS? A. Stored procedure. B. Constraint. C. Schema. D. Function. Correct answer D. Function. Explanation. Row-level security uses inline table-valued functions to filter data dynamically. These functions restrict user access based on defined security rules. Question 6. You have a Fabric deployment pipeline that uses 3 workspaces named Dev, Test, and Prod. You need to deploy an event house as part of the deployment process. What should you use to add the event house to the deployment process? A. GitHub Actions. B. A deployment pipeline. C. An Azure DevOps pipeline. Correct answer B. A deployment pipeline. Explanation. Deployment pipelines manage content movement across environments. They support deploying Fabric items like Event House efficiently from development to production workspaces. Question 7. You have a Fabric workspace named Workspace 1 that contains a warehouse named Warehouse 1. You plan to deploy Warehouse 1 to a new workspace named Workspace 2. As part of the deployment process, you need to verify whether Warehouse 1 contains invalid references. The solution must minimize development effort. What should you use? A. A database project. B. A deployment pipeline. C. A Python script. D. A T-SQL script. Correct answer B. A deployment pipeline. Explanation. Deployment pipelines automatically validate dependencies and references. They minimize manual effort and help identify invalid references during deployment processes. Question 8. You have a Fabric workspace that contains a real-time intelligence solution and an event house. Users report that from OneLake File Explorer, they cannot see the data from the event house. You enable OneLake availability for the event house. What will be copied to OneLake? A. Only data added to new databases that are added to the event house. B. Only the existing data in the event house. C. No data. D. Both new data and existing data in the event house. Correct answer D. Both new data and existing data in the event house. Explanation. Enabling OneLake availability copies both existing and future data. This ensures complete visibility and access to all event house data in OneLake Explorer. Question 9. You have a Fabric workspace that contains an event stream named Event Stream 1. Event Stream 1 outputs events to a table in a lakehouse. You need to remove files that are older than 7 days and are no longer in use. Which command should you run? A. Vacuum. B. Compute. C. Optimize. D. Clone. Correct answer A. Vacuum. Explanation. Vacuum removes unused files older than retention period. It helps optimize storage, reduce clutter, and improve query performance in Delta tables. Question 10. You have a Fabric workspace named Workspace 1 that contains an Apache Spark job definition named Job 1. You have an Azure SQL database named Source 1 that has public internet access disabled. You need to ensure that Job 1 can access the data in Source 1. What should you create? A. An on-premises data gateway. B. A managed private endpoint. C. An integration runtime. D. A data management gateway. Correct answer B. Managed private endpoint. Explanation. Managed private endpoints enable secure connection to Azure SQL without public internet access. They ensure private network communication and enhance data security. Question 11. You have a Fabric workspace that contains a warehouse named Warehouse 1. Data is loaded daily into Warehouse 1 by using data pipelines and stored procedures. You discover that the daily data load takes longer than expected. You need to monitor Warehouse 1 to identify the names of users that are actively running queries. Which view should you use? A. sys.dm_exec_connections. B. sys.dm_exec_requests. C. queryinsights.long_running_queries. D. queryinsights.frequently_run_queries. E. sys.dm_exec_sessions. Correct answer E. sys.dm_exec_sessions. Explanation. This view shows active sessions and connected users. It helps monitor currently running queries and identify users actively accessing the warehouse. Question 12. You have a Fabric workspace that contains a lakehouse named Lakehouse 1. Lakehouse 1 contains a Delta table named Table 1. You analyze Table 1 and discover that Table 1 contains 2,000 Parquet files of 1 MB each. You need to minimize how long it takes to query Table 1. What should you do? A. Disable VOrder and run the optimize command. B. Disable VOrder and run the vacuum command. C. Run the optimize and vacuum commands. Correct answer, C. Run the optimize and vacuum commands. Explanation. Optimize compacts small files into larger ones. Vacuum removes obsolete files, improving performance and reducing storage overhead in Delta tables. Question 13. You have a Fabric workspace that contains a lakehouse and a notebook named Notebook 1. Notebook 1 reads data into a data frame from a table named Table 1 and applies transformation logic. The data from the data frame is then written to a new Delta table named Table 2 by using a merge operation. You need to consolidate the underlying Parquet files in Table 1. Which command should you run? A. Vacuum. B. Broadcast. C. Optimize. D. Cache. Correct answer, C. Optimize. Explanation. Optimize consolidates small Parquet files into larger files. This reduces file fragmentation and significantly improves query performance in Lakehouse tables. Question 14. You have 5 Fabric workspaces. You are monitoring the execution of items by using Monitoring Hub. You need to identify in which workspace a specific item runs. Which column should you view in Monitoring Hub? A. Start time. B. Location. C. Activity name. D. Submitter. Correct answer B. Location. Explanation. Location column indicates the workspace where an item runs. It helps identify execution origin when monitoring multiple Fabric workspaces. Question 15. You have a Fabric workspace that contains a warehouse named DW1. DW1 is loaded by using a notebook named Notebook 1. You need to identify which version of Delta was used when Notebook 1 was executed. What should you use? A. Real-time Hub. B. OneLake Data Hub. C. The Admin Monitoring Workspace. D. Fabric Monitor. Correct answer D. Fabric Monitor. Explanation. Fabric Monitor provides detailed execution insights including runtime details. It helps track Delta version and execution behavior of notebook jobs. Question 16. You have a Fabric workspace that contains a semantic model named Model 1. You need to dynamically execute and monitor the refresh progress of Model 1. What should you use? A. Dynamic Management Views in Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, SSMS. B. Monitoring Hub. C. Dynamic Management Views in Azure Data Studio. D. A semantic link in a notebook. Correct answer D. A semantic link in a notebook. Explanation. Semantic link enables programmatic control of semantic models. It allows dynamic execution, refresh monitoring, and integration with notebooks for advanced analytics. Question 17. You have a Fabric workspace that contains a write-intensive warehouse named DW1. DW1 stores staging tables that are used to load a dimensional model. The tables are often read once, dropped, and then recreated to process new data. You need to minimize the load time of DW1. What should you do? A. Enable VORDER. B. Create statistics. C. Drop statistics. D. Disable VORDER. Correct answer D. Disable VORDER. Explanation. Disabling VORDER improves write performance in write-heavy workloads. It reduces overhead, making staging tables faster for frequent insert, drop, and recreate operations. Question 18. You have a Fabric notebook named Notebook1 that has been executing successfully for the last week. During the last run, Notebook1 executed 9 jobs. You need to view the jobs in a timeline chart. What should you use? A. Real-time hub. B. Monitoring hub. C. The job history from the application run. D. Spark history server. E. The run series from the details of the application run. Correct answer E. The run series from the details of the application run. Explanation. Run series provides a timeline visualization of job execution. It helps analyze stages, durations, and sequence of Spark jobs effectively. Question 19. You have a Microsoft Power Apps app named App1 that has data stored in Microsoft Dataverse. You need to access the App1 data by using Fabric. What should you use? A. A data pipeline. B. Mirroring. C. Dataflow Gen 2. D. A shortcut. Correct answer D. A shortcut. Explanation. Shortcuts allow accessing external data without copying it. They provide efficient integration with Dataverse data directly within Fabric environment. Question 20. You have a Fabric workspace that contains a semantic model named Model1. You need to monitor the refresh history of Model1 and visualize the refresh history in a chart. What should you use? A. The refresh history from the settings of Model1. B. A notebook. C. A Dataflow Gen 2 data flow. D. A data pipeline. Correct answer B. A notebook. Explanation. Notebooks allow querying refresh history and building visualizations. They provide flexibility to analyze and present refresh metrics using charts. Question 21. You have a Fabric deployment pipeline that uses 3 workspaces named Dev, Test, and Prod. You need to deploy an event house as part of the deployment process. What should you use to add the event house to the deployment process? A. An Azure DevOps pipeline. B. An event stream. C. GitHub Actions. Correct answer A. An Azure DevOps pipeline. Explanation. Azure DevOps pipelines automate deployment of Fabric items like Event House. They integrate CI/CD processes and support structured release management across environments. Question 22. You have a Fabric warehouse named DW1. DW1 contains a table that stores sales data and is used by multiple sales representatives. You plan to implement row-level security (RLS). You need to ensure that the sales representatives can see only their respective data. Which warehouse object do you require to implement RLS? A. Trigger. B. Schema. C. Function. D. Database role. Correct answer C. Function. Explanation. Row-level security relies on functions to filter rows dynamically. These functions define user-specific access rules applied during query execution. Question 23. You have a Fabric warehouse named DW1. DW1 contains a table that stores sales data and is used by multiple sales representatives. You plan to implement row-level security (RLS). You need to ensure that the sales representatives can see only their respective data. Which warehouse object do you require to implement RLS? A. Security policy. B. Table. C. Trigger. D. Stored procedure. Correct answer A. Security policy. Explanation. Security policies enforce row-level security rules in warehouses. They bind functions to tables, ensuring data access is restricted based on defined conditions. Question 24. You have a Fabric workspace named Workspace 1 that contains a warehouse named Warehouse 1. You plan to deploy Warehouse 1 to a new workspace named Workspace 2. As part of the deployment process, you need to verify whether Warehouse 1 contains invalid references. The solution must minimize development effort and provide detailed information about the invalid references. What should you use? A. A DBT project. B. A deployment pipeline. C. A Python script. D. A database project. Correct answer B. A deployment pipeline. Explanation. Deployment pipelines validate dependencies and detect invalid references. They provide detailed insights while minimizing development effort during workspace deployment. Question 25. You have a Fabric workspace that contains an event stream named Event Stream 1. Event Stream 1 processes data from a thermal sensor by using event stream processing, and then stores the data in a lakehouse. You need to modify Event Stream 1 to include the standard deviation of the temperature. Which transform operator should you include in the Event Stream 1 logic? A. Expand. B. Group by. C. Union. D. Aggregate. Correct answer B. Group by. Explanation. Group by operator aggregates streaming data and calculates metrics like standard deviation. It groups events based on specified fields for analysis. Question 26. You have a Fabric workspace that contains a lakehouse named Lakehouse 1. In an external data source, you have data files that are 500 gigabytes each. A new file is added every day. You need to ingest the data into Lakehouse 1 without applying any transformations. The solution must meet the following requirements. Trigger the process when a new file is added. Provide the highest throughput. Which type of item should you use to ingest the data? A. Event stream. B. Dataflow Gen 2. C. Streaming dataset. D. Data pipeline. Correct answer D. Data pipeline. Explanation. Data pipelines support high-throughput ingestion and can trigger on new files. They efficiently load large datasets without applying transformations. Question 27. You have a Fabric workspace that contains a lakehouse named Lakehouse 1. In an external data source, you have data files that are 500 gigabytes each. A new file is added every day. You need to ingest the data into Lakehouse 1 without applying any transformations. The solution must meet the following requirements. Trigger the process when a new file is added. Provide the highest throughput. Which type of item should you use to ingest the data? A. Data pipeline. B. Environment. C. KQL query set. D. Dataflow Gen 2. Correct answer A. Data pipeline. Explanation. Data pipelines provide scalable ingestion for large files. They support event-based triggers and deliver maximum throughput without requiring transformations. Question 28. You are developing a data pipeline named Pipeline 1. You need to add a copy data activity that will copy data from a Snowflake data source to a Fabric warehouse. What should you configure? A. Degree of copy parallelism. B. Fault tolerance. C. Enable staging. D. Enable logging. Correct answer C. Enable staging. Explanation. Enabling staging improves data transfer performance. It uses intermediate storage to optimize large data movement between Snowflake and Fabric Warehouse. Question 29. You have a Fabric workspace that contains an event stream named Event Stream 1. Event Stream 1 outputs events to a table named Table 1 in a lakehouse. The streaming data is sourced from motorway sensors and represents the speed of cars. You need to add a transformation to Event Stream 1 to average the car speeds. The speeds must be grouped by non-overlapping and contiguous time intervals of 1 minute. Each event must belong to exactly one window. Which windowing function should you use? A. Sliding. B. Hopping. C. Tumbling. D. Session. Correct answer, C. Tumbling. Explanation. Tumbling windows divide data into fixed, non-overlapping intervals. Each event belongs to exactly one window, making them ideal for time-based aggregation. Question 30. You have a Fabric workspace that contains a warehouse named Warehouse 1. You have an on-premises Microsoft SQL Server database named Database 1 that is accessed by using an on-premises data gateway. You need to copy data from Database 1 to Warehouse 1. Which item should you use? A. A data pipeline. B. An Apache Spark job definition. C. A streaming data flow. D. A notebook. Correct answer A. A data pipeline. Explanation. Data pipelines are best suited for copying data from on-premises sources. They provide reliable, scalable, and automated data transfer into Fabric warehouses. Please revise full PDF 2 to 3 times for 100% success. Check the description for the PDF download link and don't forget to subscribe to this channel for upcoming episodes. Thank you.